What's going on? This is the Sports Counterpoints podcast. Today is October 18th, 2023. I'm GB. It's Brian and Coop. What's up, guys?
Back again.
On great.
And back again, talking our usual sports talk, doing what we do. So we'll kick a little bit of MLB today. Postseason's in full swing. We're getting closer to the World Series. We'll talk a little bit about college football and then NFL and wrap it up with our last two segments. So let's get into it, man. Brian, you were saying that both your teams was up out of there same night.
Same night, yeah. Same night. Right after one game after the other. Watched the Twins fall. And then a little while later, the Dodgers fell. So the season effectively ended for me all in one evening. It was definitely not the postseason that I wanted, but it's not one that I didn't expect. There weren't any tears shed or outrage. I'm not one of these Dodger fans who are like, we got to blow up the team and do. It's like these guys scored 100 wins. Had 100 wins with a number of injuries. I mean, they lost most of their starters, starting pitching. They had to get rid of one of their highest paid players because of issues that he had that are now looking like it was all faked. It was a lot. It was a lot going on that team. For them to get 100 wins is pretty remarkable. But I think a lot of people, after seeing them get 100 wins, kind of had this illusion in their mind that meant that they were going to be a favorite to win the championship. And it was still the same team with the same injuries. And the playoffs are tough. You have to shorten the rotation and play them more frequently, and didn't work out. Twins, I always want to see them win. I'm never surprised when they don't quite do it. And that's just because they have a really good thin team. You can't get depth in a small city like you can when you're in LA or New York or any of these other cities. So, they have good players that do a really great job, and they have to have a better farm system because they're not getting free agents. And so ultimately they've got to find a way to use what they've got and enjoy what they do with that. I think if you were to ask the organization behind closed doors and off air, they'd probably say they're pretty damn happy about the results of this season.
Yeah, now that makes sense. Right now you got Houston versus Texas. Texas is up 2-1, and then you got Philly versus Arizona. Arizona's got hot for real. Philly's up 2-0.
Let's go Rangers.
Yeah, Philly's up 2-0.
Yeah. I didn't know that Bruce Bochy was the manager of the Texas Rangers.
Yep.
Bruce Bochy won 3 World Series with the Giants, all in odd years. This is an odd year right now, 2023. He's a manager of Texas Ranger, and I'm with Brian. That's who I'm going for. Not because of him, but I can't.
It's not the Astros.
Yeah, I rooted for the Astros for Dusty Baker last year, and now that's over and done with. So now I'm going for the Texas Rangers. Plus, they're from the AL West, same division as the A's. So, but even though the A's lost 100 games, but I'm still going with the Texas Rangers. But the surprise team to me to make it this far, which I didn't even know they made it this far, to be perfectly honest with you, was the Arizona Diamondbacks. I had no idea.
Yeah, they rolling.
They're
the only team that made the playoffs with a negative run differential. Look at their standings this season. I mean, there's no good reason for them to have made it into the postseason.
And got 2 sweeps coming out now. Now they're close to getting swept themselves, but
you get hot at the right time.
Right, that's all that matters.
That's all you got to do.
Yeah, every team gets runs off a 4 or 5, 6 game winning streak, and it looks like Arizona did theirs in the postseason. But yeah, they won the first series 2-0. They beat the Dodgers, swept the Dodgers, was still surprising 3-0. Now they are playing the Phillies now, a team that's actually had 2 sweeps. I don't count them out yet now unless they go down 3-0. But the
2-0
Phillies
right now.
Right, and the Phillies is a bit of a surprise too, because I thought they were a team that was probably teetering, just to barely make the playoffs. I didn't think they will make a run like this, but like Brian said, you get hot, things happen. So it looks like hopefully we head to, not hopefully, but Diamondbacks. I can't see too many people watching the World Series. Diamondbacks are in the World Series, but I can see people watching Philly because it's a big city. They got a raucous crowd, and it's just Philly. So I'm hoping Philly plays Texas. I think that'll be a good World Series. And
I ain't watching it.
But I'm not gonna watch it. But I'm just saying.
I ain't watching none today.
I think it'll be a better World Series than having Arizona in there. But I'm with you. Go Texas. Not much to say about baseball because I haven't watched.
Yeah, I'm rooting against the Astros, and I don't really care if it's Phillies or Diamondbacks. I think the Phillies are going to do it, and that's because they have just more power in their lineup. and that's what it gets you through to the next step. It's either power or pitching. Diamondbacks obviously have not had the power. That's why they had a negative run differential. This is eventually that had to catch up with them, and I think it's likely this series. So I do think it will be the Rangers and the Phillies, and as long as it's not the Astros who win it, I don't care.
Yeah, Zach Gallen is the best pitcher for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Pretty much all they have is a pitcher, and he just got rocked not too long ago. So, it looks like it's pretty bleak for Arizona. What do you say, Glenn?
Shout out to the A's who won every game that I attended. So even if they lost 100, they're 2-0 in my eyes.
They lost 100.
Only 2 games I saw, and they won both of them joints.
Talk about picking winners, because that's pretty tough given how many games they didn't win.
Right.
And both
the right two.
Right, both of them were random. I mean, the first one was with Coop, and the second one was with my job, and it's just random. And we was beautiful days on both of them, perfect weather. A's win. So word. So then sliding to college football, you guys had a couple of games you wanted to talk about. I see Miami got to play UNC, so you got to see your boys play your favorite quarterback too, huh?
That's hella funny, Drake May. I turned it off pretty much mid third quarter. I knew this is what Miami does. They'll lose a game that they're supposed to win. All of a sudden, a 3-4 game losing streak starts. So I expected them to lose North Carolina because they pretty much always lose North Carolina since Drake May has been there. I mean since Mac Brown has been there. But Drake May had a really, really good game, and Miami just they couldn't get it done. I mean, they tried to make a run at the end. The score is not indicative. I think they only lost by 10, but it's not indicative of how the game was played. It pretty much got blown out for most of the game. But I only watched a little bit of that.
Let me ask you a question about that game. I didn't watch the game, but I always say this because I actually want to be able to say, but and I'm not a Drake May fan, and I talk to plenty of people who hang out and watch our show or podcast, whatever, talk about this. But you said he had a pretty great game. He only had 17 completions.
He made some
for touchdowns. He only had 17 completions.
Okay.
And everyone, and he does this pretty consistently. He's mid, low 200s, mid 200s, 15 to 20 completions. And then people were like, he's so calm in the pocket, blah, blah, blah. I'm like,
oh, yeah.
How does that translate in your mind to the NFL? This is supposed to be the second best quarterback.
Simple. He doesn't have NFL. He's not playing against Stanford and San Jose State. He doesn't have NFL talent. He has Tez Walker as a receiver, and that's it.
He's not playing against NFL talent. He doesn't have NFL talent, but why is it supposed to translate into the NFL then?
Because he knows how to see the field and can make all the NFL throws. It's like you're just saying.
No, he does it 17 times a game. How do you say that?
John Elway went 6-6 in college. You think they cared about how many completions?
You know how many times John Elway passed? He was over 40. More than almost any college passer at the time he was in there. He was literally a chucker.
Drake May can make all of the NFL throws. I don't care that he only had 17 completions. They were running the ball into the NFL. They were running the ball down Miami's throat. There's no need to pass 50 times when you're running the ball down Miami's throat.
I'm not talking about Drake May. I'm not talking about the team. UNC is much better than the Miami Hurricanes. Yeah. But do you think
he loves saying that? He loves saying that.
Go ahead.
Do you think Drake May is going to translate into the NFL?
Yes, definitely. Okay. He should be the number 1 pick in the draft. 6'4", 230.
Perfect.
Sits in the pocket.
Write this down.
Yes, please.
He's I ain't got to write. Quarterback.
That's easy to remember.
When he actually gets to the NFL and he's in 3 or 4 games in, it'll be like, I didn't really think I couldn't see it. I don't think it
last year.
Drake May ain't going to be the thing in the NFL.
I've said this since last year, so
I know,
I'm not moving off of
it. I'm getting this etched in stone. I want to make sure that we're clear.
I got you. And if he's a bust,
he's not gonna be the guy in the NFL.
But Caleb Williams is. Why? Because he lit 6 touchdowns. Oh, okay. He got 6 touchdowns against San Jose State.
That's
Nevada.
a good segue too.
So. Look, if you don't think Caleb is, you can also say that too. We can get you.
I don't know what
you to write it down.
I don't know what Caleb is.
But I'm not comparing 2 players. I didn't say anything about Caleb Williams. I just said Drake May.
Oh, yeah.
With 17 completions a game.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't going to be that guy in the NFL.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he has all the tools. It's no brainer on that one. But
he doesn't have all those tools. He's got 17 passes a game.
No, he has all that. He can make all the NFL throws. He has them. But there is one game though in the Pac-12 though I do want to talk about. Not USC and Notre Dame, but I want to talk about Oregon versus Washington. I thought that was first. Really, really, really good game, Oregon versus Washington. I thought Oregon would win because I thought they had the better defense, so I took Oregon +3. They lost by 3, but I pushed. But there's a quarterback, both quarterbacks, Bo Nix from Oregon and Michael Penix Jr. from Washington.
Yeah, I'm a big Penix fan.
Penix made some really good throws during that game, but the most impressive thing about him, though, is that he sat in the pocket and got drilled more than a few times. Yeah, he kept his eyes downfield, and he still gave his receivers an extra second to get open and delivered the ball, but he definitely paid the price. I haven't seen a quarterback get lit up like that in the game since Bryce Young played against Georgia in the national title game. I mean, he got lit up, and I was watching the game and thinking about who he reminds me of, and he reminds me of a bigger, stronger Tua. Both of them are left-handed, but he's bigger and stronger, and they're both not athletic, but that's who he reminds me of. He reminds me of a bigger, stronger Tua. But as I was watching the game, though, another thing came to my mind. It's like I'm watching Washington, Oregon. They'll be playing the Big Ten next year, but it's about the team with them. It was always about the team. When I watch a USC game, to me, it's always just about Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams. That's it. And I honestly only watch Caleb Williams, to be honest with you. But Washington, Oregon, they had passion. It was intense. Like, they really cared about the game, opposed to USC and Notre Dame. I didn't see that passion. I didn't see that intensity coming from USC. And I don't think that's much of a rivalry. To me, USC Notre Dame is a rivalry, but I don't think the players involved, because so many transfers, Lincoln Riley's the coach, he's from Texas. I don't think they all view that as a rivalry. And I'm honestly surprised. I want to hear your thoughts on that game, because I'm honestly surprised at the result. I thought USC was built to beat Notre Dame. So I was really shocked at the final score. Well, what did you think about it?
Well, I told you when we were text messaging, I didn't think USC was going to win this game.
I did.
And because we were talking about, what things, and I was just like, nah, I don't. I think this is going to be a game that take a loss. Here's the thing, USC does not win in South Bend. They haven't done it since 2011. That's a really damn long time. That's a lot of players coming in and out between then and now when you think about college, right? And they just don't win in South Bend. But you add that to, we saw USC kind of show their ass a little bit last week when they were playing, and they looked like, like they were going to do there. I don't know if they were really, if they're built or not built or whatever. I didn't think USC was playing their best football, which they needed to do to beat a team that was hungry, because they're coming off of a couple losses and needed to show on a national stage they could do it. They had home field advantage in a place where home field advantage actually matters. Some places it don't. Same, Chargers, Rams. But in Notre Dame and Michigan and places like that, it really matters. I also think it mattered in the Washington game. But it was disappointing to see, and I completely agree with you. The second half of that game, SC gave it 10 good minutes, realized that it didn't make a big enough run, and then just said, okay, we're coasting at this point. They got the loss that they deserve. It'll be real interesting to see if they can come back and get a win against Utah. Because if they don't beat Utah, then the Pac-12 championship is likely not for them. And if the Pac-12 championship is not an option for them, well, then you're going to have a real problem, because they're not going to be able to get into the college playoffs. Not getting into the college playoffs, whether Caleb Williams comes in, all of that stuff is going to kind of rise up. You'll get a critical mass of problems for USC. But Notre Dame played a smart game. They knew that they could be more physical than Notre Dame, than USC, and they just pounded them nonstop and made it the game more physical, slowed it down. SC's a fast team. I guarantee you, whoever was growing that grass made sure it was as tall and wet as you possibly could, because
3 weeks.
Because when you see SC play at the Coliseum, it looks like a track meet. And it looked like a sumo wrestling match. I mean, it was a lot slower.
Yeah, for those who don't know what Brian means, Notre Dame, before they play USC, they usually have a bye, or they play a road game to let the grass grow, because USC usually have faster players. So on thick grass, the players are actually a little bit slower, and it helps Notre Dame.
Timing routes. And you saw that with Caleb Williams.
Yep.
Like it looked like people were a step slower. They were. But when Caleb Williams is working all week in the Coliseum, and where everything's fast, they have fake grass in their practice field, and you're throwing to a spot. You're like, I go 1, 2, 3, and I'm throwing at this angle, whatever this angle is. Well, now you get on a slow field that's slower, and you're still throwing at that angle, but he's still a step this way. Now you're either underthrowing or overthrowing, and people can get jumps on balls. And guess what? A really good quarterback threw 3 picks, and that's
like in the first half, right?
Yeah. And I think that's part of that adjustment period. By the time he figured out what was going on, the game was lost. And to some extent, next year and in the years when they're playing in that kind of an atmosphere, they'll be able to adjust. But that's the only game that they have that's like that. All the West Coast teams, minus Washington and Washington State, which are sloppy because of rain, which you have a different adjustment for. But USC didn't play their football game. Notre Dame did a great job of knocking them out of that football game early and making it their own way. And they got the loss that they deserved.
Yeah, and props to all of you who stayed awake watching that entire game, because Jason Garrett is absolutely horrible. I don't know why they have him call games, and they got Chris Collinsworth's son. If you stayed up for that entire game to watch those boring guys, I mean, you deserve something from USC and Notre Dame. Seriously, a sweatshirt or something, a hoodie.
So bad.
They are terrible. Oh man, terrible.
I didn't see any of it. That's funny.
But I didn't say anything about the Washington-Oregon game after you did.
Oh,
and the only thing that
ahead.
I would say is truly impressive. I am a Michael Penix fan. I think he is better than Drake May. I'll put that out there. Most people disagree with me. Totally understand that. The thing that most people will say about why they think he's not as good is because he's older. He's a senior. He's been there. This, I think, is his 5th year. And he's a 5th-year senior. To me, that makes no sense whatsoever. Quarterbacks have longer shelf lives. Experienced quarterbacks perform better in the NFL when they're trying to make that transition. I think that matters. And then, like you were saying, Coop, Penix just has an it factor where he isn't afraid of the guy coming at him. Now, maybe in the NFL when he gets hit by, whoever the new Aaron Donald is, but it might change. But for right now, when he sees a guy coming at him and he sees an opportunity that is going to take 1 extra second, he waits the 1 extra second. He does not get happy feet. He does not run away. He doesn't get scared. Not saying that May does, but in Penix's case, I think that it factor means that he can be a good quarterback. Now, I don't think he's the next second coming or anything like that. A good quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
Second, third round kind of guy.
Yeah, I believe that too. Yeah. Oh, I gotta say something about Colorado, because I know I texted you guys at the end of that game. Colorado was up 29-0. I was done watching. Next thing I know, this is a 1-score game. And I tell you, Travis Hunter.
Me.
Yeah, I know. I text you. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I thought I texted Glenn too, but
you text everybody. You text
over the chat.
Yeah, that game. Yeah, Travis Hunter was getting cooked. I mean, I'm not saying he's a bad player, but he was getting destroyed. And I think it's because he's playing 2 ways. I don't think you can do that in college. Play full time both ways. I think he's just getting burnt out because he was getting destroyed by Stanford. And for all that, I don't like Deion's players' attitudes because they act like they're the 1980s Hurricanes and got national championships backing them up. They're just talking because Deion is on the team. They don't have good enough players except Travis Hunter to talk like that. That's the only one, because he's the one that other major colleges will want, Travis Hunter. Everybody else is just, it's Colorado. But I ain't gonna lie, I'm not a Colorado fan. I'm not a Stanford fan, but it was kind of good to see them actually lose that game because they were all so shocked. And good for Stanford for pulling the game like that out. But it was great. It got really good. Yes, it was.
I loved every second of it. The only seconds of it that I watched were after you texted me that they had come back. So I was going to turn it on and watch that game, and Stanford got way behind way early. By the time I got home and got situated, I was like, yeah, okay, I don't want to see this. I don't want to see Colorado win. And then you sent the text like, here we go. And I looked at it. I said, wait a minute, is Jason, crazy? What's going on? And turned it on and got to see Stanford pull out the victory. Some of our friends were watching the game, gave up on it. They were Stanford fans too. And then we're like, the next morning, what are you talking about? Stanford won? How did this happen? Anyways, so that was kind of amusing. It happens every once in a while. I was glad to see it happen. When it comes to Travis Hunter, he just got finished being injured and being out for a couple of weeks. It's hard to get your steam back. So I think that contributes to, like what you were saying, playing 2 ways after taking a couple of weeks off.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And, Glenn and I play golf and we all do something kind of athletic and think how quickly at any point in time, how quickly you lose a little bit. right? You don't play golf, you don't have 18 holes of stamina. If you're not running nonstop, you lose a little bit, and a little bit in a game, especially the second half of the game where he was really getting cooked. Where the stamina really plays into it. It's easier to understand. I don't think this means that he's no good, like you said. I think it's just it was a bad week, but bad timing, and a relatively bad team got very lucky, and it was fun to watch.
Yeah, and it happens. Yep, it happens.
Yeah, I didn't see that a bit. Are y'all anything else college, or we could shift to the league?
I'm good.
No, just look. I'll be interested to see this week if USC can bounce back against Utah. It's a huge game. UCLA has Stanford coming off the high. I'm pretty sure UCLA is going to win that. But the big game of the week has to be Penn State, Ohio State. It's always a big game. They're playing this week. That's number 7 and number 3. Last week all the ranked games involved the Pac-12 and then your Miami Hurricanes versus UNC. That was the only ranked teams. This week around, we have Pac-12 again, Penn State, Ohio State, and then Tennessee, Alabama.
Yeah, Miami won't be ranked again. Yeah, very good. Season over.
Fair enough.
Yeah, we can move to the league. Yeah.
Let's do it. We always start kind of kicking off with our teams.
Why don't y'all go because y'all won?
Yeah, I guess that's what you call it. There ain't nothing. It's the same thing with us every day. So they barely made it through. Jimmy got hurt again. Pretty much since he got there, everything y'all been saying is happening. Hella picks, injured pretty much every game. I will say when he's upright, the boy can make some passes. They're intermediate passes, like they be right on, but he gets hurt often. Hoyer came in, did enough. We had a long pass completion, so that kind of changed the defense a little bit.
A long pass completion.
Yeah, and it's true when you can stretch the field a little bit. When you don't have to think about a specific portion of the game, it makes defense a lot easier. But if you have to kind of account for more, wrinkles in the offense, it makes it more difficult. So I think Jimmy's going to be out this week. We'll probably have Aiden O'Connell starting. Devontae's not getting enough passes his way, so he's not feeling that. So they're going to have to make some adjustments there. We may trade Hunter Renfrow. I'm reading. So it's all the same stuff. I mean, all the same Raider stuff. Patriots look terrible.
They're bad.
Yeah, they don't have enough players. They don't have enough. I don't know. They don't have enough. Yeah. So
Hunter Renfrow is pretty much invisible, which is surprising.
He just doesn't fit in with the players that they have in the offense that you're running. It's not. I don't think it's Hunter Renfrow's fault.
I don't think he's not talented at all. Yeah.
And Gruden had an affinity for him. Gruden likes a player, he feeds him. So he had to run a lot of choice routes, and him and Carr had a good connection. Same thing with Waller, right? Like he loved Waller. Waller's not doing as much in New York.
Well, yeah.
So you like players, you can feed them. So we'll kind of see what happens there. Same old thing. I mean, we're playing the Bears next. They're playing a backup quarterback. We're probably playing a backup. So we got a chance to maybe win that game. We haven't won in Chicago since I think 1993. So
y'all are going to win that game.
Yeah, you'll win. Don't worry.
They should. So
who's quarterbacking?
Tyson Bagent is not good.
Versus Aiden O'Connell or Brian Hoyer.
Tyson Bagent is not.
That's the quarterback?
Yes.
What I will
I
say
watch college and don't know who the hell he is. But anyway,
I've watched a lot of Raider games, and we are known to elevate somebody at least for one game. So hopefully they don't do it again, but we'll see what happens. So
it's easier. It's easier for backups to have a puncher's chance when they come in the middle of the game. So there's no game planning. Like nobody in Minnesota spent one moment looking at film that included Tyson Bagent.
Right.
And so he comes out here and completes a couple short passes, so on and so forth. You didn't know what was up, but you all, have the opportunity. And if you don't think your defensive line is going to feast on a not so, they're not bad, but not perfect line.
Max will love it.
And on a young quarterback who does not have a foggy clue what he is doing.
Well,
it's
just like what Khalil Mack did to Aiden O'Connell for the Raiders. I mean, Khalil Mack even admitted he held the ball too damn long, and he just got 6 sacks off of him. He probably shouldn't even had 4 of those sacks. So you get a rookie quarterback or a new guy in there. It's different coming in the middle, but we'll see.
Yeah, so that's the Raiders are the Raiders. They always make it stressful, but it's my team. I'm always gonna follow, man, and it's fun. I've actually played golf last week and Sunday, and that's my new thing. So I I could watch the games on my phone. I got battery. I got all the technology to do it. So that was actually I wasn't paying attention to every single play like I typically do, and I see how much I get invested in the games. So I heard what was going on, and I was watching in between. But I actually played okay golf, and it was one of the more memorable. It was a good Sunday. So
Mhm.
I think that's the thing. So yeah.
You have an early game, 10 a.m. game this weekend, and it's Raiders -3. What do you like?
I think it's always close with us. I think it's 21-24 or 17-24, something like that.
Oh, Bears winning.
No, we'll win, but it's gonna be. I
Yeah,
mean, I don't
I
think.
had to
I think
ask.
it's gonna be
Raiders
close.
are going to
and-
win. They're going to beat the spread -3. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
with
they
that.
should. So we'll see. Devontae's got to get the ball, so it should be fun. This is a game you could do it in. So yeah. What about the Vikings, man?
I mean, the Vikings, they played a game and they won. I'm reasonably certain they won because Justin Fields got hurt. Not to say that Justin Fields was playing well. He really wasn't, but nobody was. It was an ugly game. Kirk Cousins, who was throwing for 350 yards a game, threw for 174 and 1 touchdown. We had 46 yards of rushing. So that's 181 yards of passing and 46 yards of rushing. For all those folks, that's not 300 yards of total offense. And we won that game. The Bears had 162 yards of rushing and had quarterback issues, and they lost the game. I'm happy to get the win, kinda. This was one of those, okay, if you all lose this game, then it's time to give it all up, sell out for a top pick and go for Caleb and, all that kind of stuff. Because they won, at this point, they should not try any of that. I'm not impressed with where the team, obviously losing JJ is a huge deal. But I'm just not sure that in an ugly game like this one he would have been the difference to make them look demonstrably better. Either way, look, they got the win, and that's outstanding.
So you're saying if they lost, you're gonna stick a fork in them? Season over?
No, this last week. Yeah, this
Yeah,
last
right.
week. And so the problem was they were playing the Bears. They were playing almost any other team.
Yeah.
People were asking me, "Are you rooting against the Vikings this week so that they'll sell out and go for Caleb?" And I said, I cannot get to a point where I will ever root for the Bears. Like, it just will not happen.
I hear you.
So I would probably be less upset than I might normally be if the Vikings lost, because I would be able to see the upside of having lost and going in that direction. But I will not go as far as to say, I hope they lose and I want the Bears to win, because I did not and could not get to that point. And I was looking at mock drafts. Some people were sending me mock drafts recently.
Y'all getting Drake May?
Well, no, I was expecting that.
Yeah, because it'd be funny. I don't think he's going to be solid.
He sends me one and he says, and a guy that I really like is going to be a quarterback that I really like is going to be on your team. And I was like, I do not want to see some Drake May love story about him going to the Vikings. No. So I didn't look at it. He's like, no, it's not him. It was actually the quarterback from Michigan, JJ.
Really? McCarthy?
At the 11th spot. Yeah.
JJ McCarthy?
I don't know. I literally know
that.
nothing about him. Did not know his name until I saw him.
Yeah, there's a reason why you don't know his name. But yeah, go ahead.
But anyways, like I said, I couldn't get to that point. Here's what I'll tell you. And I've been working on this point of view since last week, actually. And I've been reading some articles in PFF and Athletic and so on and so forth. The PFF, which has great analytics and great stats,
Pro Football Focus
together, is a premier place. It can be a little bit propeller head geeky kind of thing, but it's as good at analytics as you're going to find on the internet. And they were talking about how if you look at the stats, takeaway records, and you take the stats for the Vikings, they are more comparable to historical 6-0 teams than they are to 2-4 teams.
Yep.
And that most of what is happening to them this season could be considered unlucky. Now, that all makes perfect sense. We've been saying on here for a while that last year they were super lucky. And I said last year that I do not think that they are as good as people thought they were. As a matter of fact, I was probably their biggest hater for most of the season last year.
Sure.
Because I thought that they were more middle of the pack. This year, I do not think that they're as bad as their record is. I think that they're probably a little bit more the middle of the pack and, could be a 3-3-4-2 team, given a couple different things. Mainly, the main thing being not losing having 9 turnovers on fumbles and picks.
Yeah, that's tough.
But so I don't know if I could go as far as calling it unlucky, which is what PFF called it.
Yeah.
They said they're like the unluckiest team. Statistically, the unluckiest team in the history of the NFL.
Because turnovers and interception stuff, they're viewed as random acts of luck during the game. So that's why. Yeah.
Yeah.
They have a lot of that.
I think some of it is bad passes and stupid coaching. So I'm at this point with my team where I think they are better than they are showing. They're not a 2-4 team, but I don't know how to figure out where they're going to find wins, right? They could have gotten lucky in KC. They could have gotten that. I do not believe that they're going to win this week. They have a puncher's chance, but I do not think that they're going to win this week.
Yeah, it'll be closer than what people think. Go ahead. We'll talk later.
Yeah, I agree with you, and we'll talk about it, and there's why. But I'm at a point with O'Connell right now where I wouldn't fire him, but I think we need to recognize that he is not playing or coaching extraordinarily well. He's a young coach. That's why he costs a hell of a lot less than Sean Payton. When you bring in somebody like O'Connell, who has been a coordinator and all that kind of stuff, you have to be willing to give them time to develop as the coach.
Yeah. The
same kind of time that Pittsburgh gave Tomlin, that has paid off. Tomlin is a great coach now, I think, in my opinion, whether the team or not. But, and I think O'Connell has that upside. I don't know that he's going to fulfill it, but it's painful to see because we're in JJ's heyday and O'Connell makes some just baffling mistakes on strategic direction throughout games. Doesn't take chances where he should take chances, takes chances when he shouldn't. And ultimately, we end up in situations where you created your own luck, and it ends in picks and fumbles.
We're seeing a lot of that from these young coaches, man. Like a lot of that, just
but they're young,
silly decisions.
Yeah,
well,
and like
I should say new guys because
your guys' coach, he doesn't get those all that. He's a veteran enough coach that he should be able to not make some of these mistakes.
Staley's been coaching enough years; he should know. O'Connell, Peyton's been doing it. Like we're seeing a lot of just like, what are you guys doing?
This is the second year.
Yeah. What are you guys doing?
Don't talk about Staley. I can't stand to look at him. His beard, nothing. I can't.
And then just imagine if you were a Chargers fan and just didn't pick them all the time to win.
Oh man,
you can't talk about him. You said.
And I can't. And the thing about he always covers his mouth to call in the plays. I mean, it's not going to work anyway. Nobody even cares what you're saying. The plays ain't going to work.
I will say, before we slide to your team, I will say Justin Herbert has thrown the most fourth quarter interceptions of anybody since.
He didn't play well at all.
League.
Yeah,
since he came in the league, he's thrown the most fourth quarter, or like I think 2-minute interceptions when the game's on the line than anybody. So.
I know that he pulled a Brett Favre, huh?
Yeah, okay, that's your boy. But he could play, but it's still funny. All right, so cool.
So let's talk about your team before we talk about our game.
Yeah, give me the Niners spread.
All right, look, no team is going 17-0. I never thought my team would go 17-0.
You said they're going to lose this game last week.
I said for 2 weeks they're going to lose this game, so I'm not hyper.
Well, you hedged on it though.
I did hedge.
You were right. You hedged on it when Watson sat, but
until I saw the weather, I was like, because I know how we play in that weather. But yeah, you're right, Brian. But I did say we're going to lose, so I'm not over analyzing or hyperventilating over this game. I thought we would lose because it'd be a 10 a.m. start on the East Coast after playing a Sunday night game, which happened to be our biggest game of the year, a blowout against our rivals. This is the Browns' biggest game of the year, and people were acting like this was USC Texas, where nobody was giving Texas a chance. And I said, you've never seen Texas play. That's why you're saying that. USC is really good, but so is Texas. People were acting like the 49ers were going to sit starters in the third and fourth quarter. I was hearing.
Yeah. No.
Basically, none of these people have never seen the Browns defense. That defense is fast. It's physical. It has size, and they're relentless.
Actually,
and the reason why I thought
historically
we would lose
good, actually, I didn't.
Oh,
realize.
Really? Yeah. And the reason why I thought they would lose this game is because, I mean, people say you never talk about Philly's defense. I'm like, well, yeah, Philly just has a defensive line that's really good. Their linebackers suck. Their secondary can be exploited. The Browns have very good defensive line and very good linebackers, and the 49ers will not be able to block against them, and it showed during that game. The offensive line for 49ers is not great. They can run block a little bit. Pass blocking, it was absolutely atrocious. They gave up so many pressures this game, and they had so many free runners coming in at Brock. I'm actually surprised Brock didn't even get hurt this game like McCaffrey and Debo did. But one thing I did notice, though, in this game, that Shanahan has an over-reliance on to use Christian McCaffrey in the road games. He has a really bad habit of trying to run the ball when it's not working. The running game was not working. Browns shut all that down. I think I texted you guys in the third quarter, and I said, if we're going to win this game, we got to put it in Brock's hands. And Shanahan wasn't doing it. He kept calling play action passes when the run game wasn't working, putting Brock in trouble. And I didn't understand any of that. As the game went on, Brock didn't play well. I know this guy can't play in rain. He couldn't even grip the ball. And if he did grip the ball and passed it, I mean, the ball sailed on him. It was really inaccurate. Now, in the fourth quarter, late in the game, when it wasn't raining, the ball was a little bit drier. He made some throws. He got it to the people he's supposed to give it to in places where they can do something with it. He made some really nice passes in the fourth quarter. But also what I noticed is that Shanahan spread it out the receivers. He wasn't trying to run anymore. He spread it out, put it in Brock's hands, and Brock did his job, got the team downfield, and I really was not confident. I was actually watching this game with Jace, and I wasn't confident. I said, Jace, he's going to miss. Because Browns took that timeout. I saw the kicker's eyes. He looked scared. He kept taking deep breaths and doing the leg thing. And I was like, yeah, he's going to miss. And then that ball just sailed. And it's almost like being a ref when I'm reffing games and it's late in the game and I call a foul on somebody going to the free throw line. I'm thinking to myself, yeah, he about to smoke these 2 free throws. Other team about to win. Because I could just tell he don't want to be at the free throw line in this position. I could just tell he or she. And that's what happened in this game. And, I know people talking about the refs. The refs did really make a couple bad calls, especially on the fumble when the guy was almost on the ground. They called that a pass. I don't see how that happened. A shoulder-to-shoulder hit. It would have been 4th and 10 at that point. He didn't even get hit in the head, but they were quick to call personal foul on that. And the reason why that play got me upset is because the Browns and the 49ers have been playing like that the entire game, but you wait till that moment of the game to throw a flag. I didn't like that. Of course, not the reason we lost the game. We didn't deserve to win. We had a chance to steal it, like the Patriots have done for years in Brady, and sure. we couldn't steal the game. But I do believe after watching this game, I usually don't talk too much about the NFL referees, but I will have to say that there should be some kind of rule that for personal foul hits on receivers, quarterbacks, whatever, they should be reviewed. I'm not worried about PIs. That they most of the time get that stuff right. Every once in a while it's egregious, but they mostly get that right. But these personal fouls against quarterbacks and against defenseless receivers that don't even get hit in the head, they have to start reviewing these because it's such a momentum swing in the game to get 15 yards and you keeping these drives alive.
You should be able to review anything you want. PIs.
You only get so many of them anyway. Yeah.
It's not going to add time. You let people use them how they want to use them.
Yeah. So I don't, Oh, yeah. And I know a lot of people were saying, I was never saying that, but I know a lot of people were saying they want to see Brock Purdy without some weapons, try to move the ball down the field. My thing was, and most 49er fans, I think will agree with me, we was never worried about Brock Purdy. I know I wasn't because the throws you have to make late. The throws you have to make late in the game, he does that all game. Unlike with Jimmy, when you're throwing all these 5-yard passes and then you need bigger chunks of yards in the fourth quarter, Jimmy can't get him because he hasn't done it all game. So I was never worried about Brock. But what I was worried about, and a lot of 49er fans were, when we got rid of Robbie Gould and we had this kicker. Now, he missed 2 of them. Now, he missed a 54-yarder, which, is acceptable. I think I blame Shanahan a little bit on this because we could have got a little closer. It was 9 seconds left, but he decided to spike the ball and bring the kicker out for a 41-yard field goal. But in the NFL, I mean, look, that's a makeable field goal, and he missed it. I'm definitely not blaming the game on him. 49ers did not deserve to win that game. Cleveland is a great defense, and they deserve to win that game.
They're historically good. Like through 5 games, they were actually comparable to like the top defenses ever. So
yeah, I didn't know that. I mean, they're
historically good.
They don't have no weak spots except secondary. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago, I said that I really didn't think that the 49ers would be able to win as long until when McCaffrey got hurt. McCaffrey got hurt in this game. I do feel like they fell apart. That's not a blame on Purdy. I don't think Purdy is enough to carry a team that doesn't have that balance, especially when McCaffrey is great, and this has happened. I do think that that's problematic in that for the team, he's he's a huge deal. McCaffrey is the lifeblood of this team. Purdy's got the name that's in lights, but McCaffrey is the thing that makes this team go. And he gets hurt. And he gets hurt late in seasons. Again, he hasn't played a full season in a really long time.
He's been good the last 2 years he's made it, but yeah.
So I think
he did not play 16 games. He always misses games for one reason or the other. The only way you can keep him alive is to have him play 12 games because he's sitting out because they want to trade him or whatever it is. I just worry that for your team remember I said I don't think that they're going to win the Super Bowl. That's the reason why, right? And you have a guy who's played 11, 6, 7, 3, 16. Last time he played 16 games was 2019. That's a problem.
Yeah, so I think differently than you. I think that Kyle Shanahan does not have a game plan without McCaffrey in it. I think that was the biggest issue. We played without Deebo Samuel before, so if Deebo is out, that's no problem.
Sure.
But Christian McCaffrey, Shanahan's game plans revolve around getting McCaffrey the ball as the first option in the running and passing game a lot of times, and that's an issue. So that's why
it's a huge issue when your guy can't play more than 11 games in 5 years.
Well, and that's an issue too. But the thing is, Shanahan needs to have a game plan for when McCaffrey is not in the game, and I think that's why the 49ers look kind of discombobulated in the second, well, after McCaffrey got hurt because. We got, penalties and that players don't know where to go. And it's like, well, everything revolves around McCaffrey. So I'm hoping McCaffrey does not play next game against Minnesota. I'm hoping Deebo doesn't play. It's a 17-game season. Let this guy heal. You don't have to run this guy 25 times a game every single game. And I want Shanahan to be forced to use Jordan Mason, who's a really decent high-end backup running back. I mean, the guy can play a little bit if you give him the ball. There's other guys on the team that you can give the ball to besides McCaffrey. So I'm hoping that he figures it out.
You need McCaffrey healthy in November, December.
Right.
If he needs to take a game in October, so be it.
Do it.
And,
exactly.
and I say that as one of the team, fan of the team that's the beneficiary of him not playing. But if I were you all, I would, just like you said, I would not play him.
Yeah.
I wouldn't worry at all whether or not that meant a loss because y'all are going to make the playoffs. You are very likely to have a home game in your first game, and having McCaffrey there and healthy and upright is
the most important. Yeah.
So our game Monday night, San Francisco -7. Want me to go first?
You can, please go ahead.
I will take the Vikings to beat the spread and most likely lose.
I'm the same way. I think it's going to be a lot closer. I think Cleveland, man, they put just a physical beating on the 49ers. This is not going to be I don't think the 49ers are going to score 30 like they've been doing before. I knew they weren't going to score 30 against the Browns. But after getting beat up like that, I can see a lot of running this game, short passes, slowing the game down. I mean, shortening the game and just try to get out of there with a close victory. I don't see explosive offense or anything like that. That Cleveland, it takes a couple weeks. We should have a bye after playing Cleveland so them bodies can heal because them boys was hitting and they was hitting hard.
Yeah,
hitting real hard. Last season though, I know I said about after week 3 or 4 that the Philadelphia Eagles will be the number 1 seed based on their schedule. I'm thinking the same thing about the Detroit Lions. I was looking at the Detroit Lions schedule and I could see them being the number 1 seed.
Eagles schedule ain't as easy as you think.
No, I said last year the Eagles.
Oh, got it.
But this year's Eagles is going to be Detroit Lions. I think they'll be the number 1 seed.
That's funny because that's one of the games I want to ask you about later. But
let's just
anyways, the 40. So what about you, Glenn? What do you think on 49ers Vikings?
Same show. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be a lot closer.
I think
it's in Minnesota.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
I think it's telling that if we were in San Francisco, then we'd be going.
It'd be like 13. Yeah.
Yeah, but we'd be going to that game. But the over/under on that is 44. So that means that's no, but that's a really low, right? You take 7 points away for the spread. Yeah. 37. That means that they're talking about that. 37 is 18. 18 so they think it's 25 to 18 is the final score that on that game is what they're projecting, somewhere around there. That's not a lot.
That's right. Yeah. That's correct.
So anyway,
I'm proud of you, Brian. You know how to do the math on that to figure out the team totals. Most people don't know how to do that. Okay.
Yeah, I did until just now.
Yeah, 25 and a half, 18 and a half. That's how you do the math. Yeah, good job.
I also don't bet on that. I only bet Peerless One gives me insight, so I never bet on those sports.
In case my wife is watching.
That's the good.
So anyways, on other games.
Well, let me just talk about one more game. I have to.
Yeah.
The New Orleans Saints, the Derek Carr and the offense coordinator, they need to be blindfolded and shot at dawn. I mean, that offense is absolutely pathetic. It's deplorable.
He got 3 wins.
Here's where
Derek
my
Carr-
mom's gonna be laughing right now.
Derek Carr was throwing passes as if Dwight Howard or Victor Adesanya, whoever that is for the Spurs, was on the damn team. Ain't nobody catching them passes. What's Derek Carr doing? Yeah, that's all I want to say.
That's funny. What
They're
about
terrible.
just a couple quick ones, and then let's get into this week real quick. Eagles Jets, man. Would y'all
Ooh,
Eagles?
what you think about that game? I know what I think. What you think about that game, Brian?
Big upset.
Definitely a big upset. So a lot of people were really, really happy about that result. I know I have a lot of Jets fans, friends, and so to see that happen, obviously it was unexpected. I have a lot of Philly Eagle fans who, think the world is crashing down because of something like that. I don't think it's a big deal in the overall scheme of things. I do think it makes your point, though, Jason, that their very weak schedule last year and their schedule this year
tougher now.
is going to put a couple more losses on there. But, I'm not going to overreact to one win or one loss. I'm not doing it for SC. I'm not doing it for any of the other teams, your team, et cetera. But it was a lot more interesting to watch that game than to see that result, to see the Jets play the way that they played down the stretch. I mean, they held the Eagles scoreless in the second half. That was pretty cool.
26 million people watched
too.
too. I give the Jets.
Squad.
Yeah, I give the Jets credit for winning, but I look at Philadelphia losing the game
because of Zach Wilson.
No, I think I look at it as Philadelphia losing that game more than the Jets winning that game, and here's why. What the hell was Philly doing? Jalen Hurts threw the ball 45 times. Why are you dropping him back 45 times? DeAndre Swift, who's actually been playing well for them, only got 10 carries. That's why they lost the game. Jalen Hurts is not the type of guy you drop back 35, 40, 50 times in the game. That's the part I don't get. The reason why they lost, he threw 3 interceptions. Against the Rams, he was throwing the first half, and the reason why they beat the Rams is because they ran the ball in the second half down their throats, because that's what Philly does well. That whole passing 40, 50 times, that's why they lost the game. I didn't understand it. That's why they lost. If they would have ran the ball and stuck to who they were, I think they would have won the game. So that's to me how I feel.
What else?
Yeah, what about looking forward to this week? Rest of last week was all right. I mean, teams that were supposed to win one got close. What about this week? Any games that you're really looking forward to?
We have to. I want us to pick the Lions-Ravens. Baltimore -3 and Baltimore. Lions 5-1, Ravens 4-2.
Mm-hmm. Who am I going with? Baltimore.
Over
Baltimore.
Under 43. You're going Baltimore. Okay.
Baltimore.
I got the Lions.
Yeah.
The Lions own one. I don't know if y'all remember. The Lions were about to beat them. I think it was last year. Maybe it was the season before. And Tucker hit like a 62-yarder or something at the end of the game, bounced off the upright for them to lose. I think the Lions again. They get back this game.
This is the first mobile quarterback they played all season. I think Lamar's going to run on them.
I'm shocking myself. I'm also going to go Lions.
Oh wow!
I think they actually win the game and spread minus because
the issue that Baltimore's quarterback is going to have is if he has to throw to anyone.
Well, the issue I think the Lions are going to have is that they need a healthy running back and they don't have one. But independent of that, when you go look at these games on ESPN, or example, they show the stat leaders for each position. Every single one of them is a Lions player, which was a shock to me when I saw that. I'm a big Ravens fan, but for whatever reasons, I think the Lions were good and well coached last year, and I think this year they're streaking a little bit. No, I don't think they're going to win anything or anything like that, but I do think that they are going to win games, and I think this might be one of them.
Well, I got one for you. Who do you think is going to win Pittsburgh at the Rams? Rams -3. This got under written all over it, under 44.5. But who do you like in this game? Because there's going to be a lot of Pittsburgh fans. They are global, worldwide.
Oh, well, the Rams. Yeah, the Rams is always as full of the other team, Rams and Chargers.
We like.
I'm gonna go Rams.
Cooper Kupp is back.
I'm gonna go Rams. I'm just going to leave it there.
Okay.
If it goes the other way, I will not be shocked. But I do think that the Rams offense with Cooper Kupp and Puka and they don't have Kyron this week. That's going to be a big deal. But I do think that they have enough things over there that they can just keep on chucking it up. Anyways, Glenn, if you want to talk
if-
about that one, and then we can keep it moving.
Yeah. Who you got? I got Pittsburgh if Watt and Cameron Hayward play on defense. I've got Pittsburgh. Who you got? Glenn?
I'm gonna be playing golf. I ain't gonna see one play. I don't even care.
Okay.
Go with the Steelers. I like Mike Tomlin. I'm giving Mike Tomlin the nod. Last game, Dolphins Eagles Sunday night. Pick it and then let's
Big
wrap
game.
the show up.
It's in Philly. I'm taking Philly. They bounce back big. They play big in big games. They bounce back. Miami, they're going when it's already known. You
They
hit Tua a couple
fluctuate,
times in the
yeah.
game. He's not the same quarterback the rest of the game. I think they're going to get to Tua because Miami's offensive line is just not that. It's okay. Defensive
This is
line
going to
better.
be I think this is going to be a really close game. I can see it going either way. Because it's -2.5, I would take Philly. If it were -3.5 or 4, I would take Miami. So it's -2.5. I'll take Philly plus and to cover the 2.5 points.
Yeah, I don't think you run up 30, 40 points in Philly. I just don't see that happening.
Yeah, no, they're gonna need you to win.
I think they'll throw a battery at you from the stands for that happens. But
Yeah. But it's 51.5 points in the over. That's a big.
I would take the over. Yeah, I think it's gonna be some points scored. Yeah.
All right, so wrapping up the show. Appreciate you guys as always, just trying to keep us within the hour. Let's get to it. So last portion of the show, hogwash. I'm gonna just throw mine real quick. NFL refs and the Los Angeles Chargers, except for that one fan, Marianne Doe, who it's been cool to see her. She was all over the I don't know if you guys saw her, just her reactions to the game, and she was just super enthralled in it. Big football fan, so it was cool to see her coming up. So beyond that, the Los Angeles Chargers and y'all favorite quarterback, hogwash.
Brian, it's your segment. You go next.
So what I'll say for hogwash is all of the talk about Kirk Cousins possibly getting traded all season long. I've been saying it all the time. There's no trades happening, or not from him. He has a no trade clause, which he's not going to waive because he actually likes being there and family thing and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
And people ask, well, would you want to see him go, or where would you want to see him go? Sure, he can go. Like, I'm not expecting to win anything this year.
Keep it real. I would take him, so you know how I'm feeling. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Funny.
And if you were the Jets and you're on a high because you just won a big game and you think that maybe you could make some waves, Zach Wilson going to do it. Sure, I get it, but he's not trying to do that, so I don't think it's going to happen. So I just wish everyone would stop talking about it as if it's like imminent or he's asked for a trade and all this other stuff. And if you trade him, are you going to keep Jade? Like we've got this whole alternate world in reality based on something that's just not going to happen. Go ahead, Jade.
There, cool.
Yeah, my hogwash. I'm actually going to do a hogwash and give props to DeMeco Ryans and CJ Stroud at the same time. So, fans and media, they forever have excuses for young quarterbacks that aren't good and will never be good. And they always have a reason that doesn't include the quarterback. It's always somebody else. I'm talking about, guys that keep defending Mac Jones, Justin Fields, Daniel Jones, both 3 years. They're 3 years in. And people still tell you that they don't suck. They'll have every excuse. And now you got Jordan Love and Desmond Ridder in that conversation as well. Desmond Ridder is the same guy who couldn't score points against Alabama in his last game, but people seem to think he can lead an NFL team. I don't know why, but whatever. CJ Stroud has less offensive talent than Desmond Ridder has at Atlanta. Atlanta has a whole bunch of offensive talent that Ridder can't take advantage of. CJ Stroud doesn't have any of that. He had a test, and what impressed me about him, I don't know if he's going to be great, but he played against a really tough New Orleans defense. And he didn't play great, but he proved he can at least hang, which is what you want in a rookie quarterback. And he's at an unstable organization like the Houston Texans. He has a defensive coach. He has a play caller that's never called plays before. He has a shaky offensive line. He has limited playmakers, but yet he seems to make it work. These are the same excuses that people use for these other quarterbacks, but yet CJ Stroud, he's just playing. He has no excuse. He's not worried. People aren't worried about weapons, who's drafted, all that other nonsense you hear about these other quarterbacks. He's just out there playing. Either you can play or you can't. Either you can make throws or you can't. And CJ Stroud is doing that. I don't know if he'll fall off. I don't know if it'll get better or worse, but my hogwash segment is all these bum quarterbacks that people defend and giving props to them, and they're not any good. And we're going to talk about the disadvantages they have. And CJ Stroud has these same disadvantages, probably even more disadvantages than these other quarterbacks, yet he's still making it work. So good for him, good for DeMeco Ryans. So it's like a hogwash, but yet giving props at the same time.
Okay. Word. Look at the chat. All right. And then minute to win it. Mine is going to go to the Las Vegas Aces, who won the WNBA championship today. Especially important for me because I like to see Mark Davis winning championships and getting in the mode of maybe winning, so that we can, it can be contagious, and the Raiders can win one day before I'm 80 years old. So, that's mine.
My mental win is real quick. Just thank all of you guys for listening to this hour-long
Always.
show. Probably an hour long because maybe I went a little too long or Brian
All
went
of
too
us.
long, but all of us. But thanks for listening. We appreciate it.
Yeah, we're
I'll get
close
us
it
in
out.
before in the 2 minutes. The only thing that I would say is I think people are talking about and evaluating everything that's going on in Israel and Gaza right now, and I think that people are not sure that they understand and want to know. And so I'm just going to put this out there: all Palestinians are not Hamas. Hamas is like ISIS. It's a very, very small group of terrorists who are doing this. Most Palestinians are people who are just living their lives,
regular people,
and have been getting blown up from both sides. If you, depending on what you believe on happened yesterday at the hospital, any loss of innocent life, Palestinian or Israel from Israel, is tragic. And we have now reached, and people should follow this, because we're on the precipice of a world war. I don't believe there's going to be one that happens for a lot of different reasons. Not going to talk about it now, but we're at that doorstep. It is that serious. This is the biggest international event of the last 15 years, and that's happening while we have Ukraine, Russia going on. My heart goes out to someone that I know whose wife's family in Ukraine got bombed today, and they're fearing the worst. I hope people don't forget what's going on in Ukraine and Russia as a result of what's going on in Israel. But either way, keep an eye on all this stuff. It is a really, really big deal. It will absolutely impact everything that happens in the U.S. because there's so much money and influence from Israel and the United States, independent of a country that's the same size as New Jersey.
Yeah. We out. We'll catch y'all next time.